All right, let's jump right into this video. We will be doing the bolt assembly maintenance on a Luxe IDOL today. To do this, all you really need is a nice towel to wipe off your old grease and some new grease. Let's just jump right into it. So first things first, we want to degas the marker so no air on the gun, and then we want to lift this lift cap up and pull it straight back. If you have a hard time getting the bolt cap to lift, you can actually push right here in the back. That'll give you some leverage to help you kind of pop that thing up. So we'll grab that, pull it directly back. Let's set the marker down. So here we have the whole bolt assembly pulled out. You kind of have the front assembly of the firing can, and then you have basically the assembly in the back. So let's go ahead and pull this thing apart. The simple maintenance would be just taking care of this front assembly, which is going to be the bolt and the firing can. We'll come back to these in a second. This is the front part of the bolt assembly, where this is the back half. So this is going to be our bolt guide, our spool, and then essentially we have a piece in the very back here we can get out. So let's go ahead and just unthread this piece also. And this is the last piece that no one ever pulls out to actually maintenance. So here's what it looks like when it's kind of all blown up. I'm going to take and lay them out in order here. So basically you have the back cap assembly here. Bam. In point of clips guns, they call it a switch. I'm blanking on the name, but essentially this piece actually moves and shuts off the airflow every time. Essentially that is your spool. That's your bolt guide, bolt, and firing can. So this is kind of what the assembly looks like when it's all taken apart. Let's just work from the back forward because we want to do the full thing. So let's take this piece. We'll go ahead and wipe the grease off of it, and we will reapply a light layer of grease. And when we do this, we want to make sure that we're not overdoing it. We want to put a light layer of grease where you kind of fill the voids around the O-ring without like caking it on. And so you'll notice this O-ring. See, you can like kind of see grease around it, kind of in the little grooves and stuff, and on the O-ring itself without being caked on. That's kind of what we're looking for. So let's do that on both O-rings here. Then we can go ahead and slip that into the back housing. And now we can go ahead and reapply, rethread on the firing chamber. So essentially this is the air that when it basically shoots, like actually shoots the paintball. So this piece actually slides backwards to shoot the paintball forwards is how it actually works. Boom, drops backwards, releases the air. And so this is called our spool. This pretty much controls the airflow in the gun. Let's make sure we wipe off the grease. Again, you want to wipe off the old grease first, then reapply. And so if you ever have a leak coming down your bolt, so if it's ever like coming out of the bolt itself, going down the breech, a lot of times it can be these two O-rings. These are kind of the ones that actually control airflow going to the front assembly. So basically drops back again, releases the air forward. So bam. And now when you put this back in, you want to make sure it goes on the spring. See the spring in there? Make sure it sits on the spring, has a little bit of resistance and tension. So that spring's doing what it's supposed to. So now we can take the, this is called the guide. And so if you have an older model, they actually stopped putting this O-ring on the back of these. So previously on the originals, they had an O-ring on the front and the back. I think the word on the street was this back O-ring may have been causing spacing issues. So they took it off of there. So there is no O-ring on the back on the newer guns. The older ones will have that. You can remove it if you want to, but that's kind of the basic for the guide. So we'll slide that on. We do want to make sure we lube these two O-rings here. Those are dynamic O-rings, which means that they rub every time things are moving on them. So we do want to make sure we add a nice layer of grease. As previously stated, same idea. All right, let's set this piece down real quick. We will grab the two front pieces. This is the bolt assembly, or excuse me, the bolt itself and the firing can. So we will just start with the bolt. Let's make sure we wipe it off. Go ahead and grease up this number 16 O-ring. So these two O-rings here, let's talk about what they do. So the back one's called the sail O-ring. So it actually pressurizes and moves back every time. That's what actually keeps the bolt to go in the back position. They vent that, and that's what causes it to shoot. And then this O-ring you see on the front of it, that's actually a bumper. So that's just there so you don't get metal on metal contact. It's a little smaller O-ring. They like kind of fit over that. So again, you don't get metal on metal in the housing. So that's all greased up. Let's grab the front can. We do want to make sure we wipe out the inside of this front O-ring. It's like a number 17. Let's see if we can see it. It sits right inside this housing. Let's wipe that off, and then we'll reapply grease. And again, in the theory of if it's leaking down the bolt itself, like coming out of the gun, it could also be this external or this internal O-ring. So just make sure we grease them really well. And just realize, guys, like it's all about greasing the dynamic O-rings, so the O-rings that like rub and move, where a lot of these like static O-rings that just like lock in the gun, we can just put a little grease on them because it's more about getting them in and out of the housing easier. And so now we can take the front assembly, thread it back together. Just needs to be hand tight. And that's our bolt maintenance for a Luxe IDOL. Throw it back in the marker, call it good to go.